Good day, and welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at the data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I'm your host, Preston Proctor. Wow, a little low on energy this morning. Wow. Hey, what a game this over the weekend. The Toronto game really got to see the Predators play how, kind of hoped they would have played all season long. Lots of energy, good speed, good anticipation against Toronto. And then, they didn't carry the same energy into the St. Louis game. That was such a cluster. I don't know. The refs totally lost control of that game for a little while. I think it negatively impacted the Preds. I wouldn't say it positively impacted the Blues, but the refs definitely made a mockery of that game. It just things they didn't call, and then you stick your glove in the face of somebody else, smash them into the boards. Not a penalty. Hey, you put your glove in somebody's face for a split second. That's a penalty. I just wonder. I think we've gotten. I don't know if it's the same set of refs, but we've at least had 3 games where the refs, I think, were just completely bogus. Which I suppose. What has it been, 70 games? I guess that's not terrible as far as the percentage goes, but I don't know. Maybe the refs were too busy watching the NCAA tournament on their watches. Just really disappointing when that kind of stuff. And and the announcer's like, well, call penalties are down in the NHL. Well, gee, that's helpful. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of the announcers. I guess the one guy that I actually did like something he said with, I think that was Hal Gill. Not, I got his name wrong because I don't pay attention. I try not, yeah. I never usually watch the intermission report, and I rarely get. Well, I don't watch it, so how can I say I don't get anything out of it when I don't watch it? All right, let's move forward. Okay, so the Capitals have clinched a playoff spot, 102 points, 70 games played. Winnipeg, 100 points, 71 games played. So I think the President's Cup's going to come down to those 2 teams. Let's see, Chicago's eliminated. San Jose is eliminated. The playoff race is looking. Some divisions look really, really tight, and some don't. And Carolina, the team that we are playing tonight in Carolina, is one of those teams in one of those divisions that is looking pretty set. You got the Caps at 102, the Hurricanes at 90, and the Devils at 81. The Devils have 10 games left. They're 9 points behind. Carolina's 12 points behind Washington with 12 games left, and then you've got 74 points, so 7 points down to the Islanders and Rangers, who have played 2 less and 1 less. But, there's some definite gaps in there. I think Carolina is pretty solidly going to be the second team in the Metropolitan. So, they just need to keep playing and keep their spot. They'd have to collapse to go down, and Washington would have to collapse for them to go up. So that's that division looks pretty set. The Atlantic commented on when we played Toronto. That looks pretty set too. Florida's now leading that division by 2, but they've played one more than Toronto and Tampa Bay. See, Toronto's at 87, Tampa Bay at 85, and then 6 points down to Ottawa. So those three are looking pretty set too, unless somebody collapses. 6 points with 12 games to go. Not uncommon. It wouldn't be. I have to take a big collapse. 12 games is still plenty of time, but assuming they play well enough that unless Ottawa just goes on a tear, I wouldn't expect Tampa Bay to fall out of the divisional spots. And then down in the Central, where Nashville plays, you got Winnipeg at 100 and Dallas at 94 and Avalanche at 89. So, a 6 point buffer. 5-6 point buffer between the teams there, so could see some movement, but 10, 12 games left, depending on where you're at in the standings. 4 points down to Minnesota, then 4 points down to St. Louis. So that's looking pretty good. The Kings up in the Pacific have moved up to second. Got an email yesterday. They were very happy about that. They played one less game than Edmonton. They're tied with Edmonton at 87 points, one less game, and they have the tiebreaker, the first tiebreaker, regulation wins. They are 5 points behind Vegas. The Kings have 13 games left. 5 points is doable. And then 9 points down to Vancouver. So I think the three teams in the Pacific are pretty much set. So I'd say three of the divisions are definitely set. Minnesota could overtake Colorado. But I think that, from the divisional standpoint, definitely in the East, that's looking pretty solid. The wild card spots, Montreal, Islanders, Rangers, maybe the Blue Jackets, Detroit. Those are the teams that would be competing for the second playoff spot. Got Ottawa in the first wild card spot. They're not going to be able to pull up to a divisional spot, so they could bounce around between first and second wild card, I guess. Pretty competitive. Going to be some pretty competitive hockey here in the next couple of weeks. In the West, got Minnesota at 85, St. Louis at 81, Vancouver, at 78. Calgary has played three less games than St. Louis, who we meet again for the third time later this week. But Calgary's played three less games, and they're 4 points behind them. Calgary, to me, even though they're not currently in a wildcard spot, they're in the driver's seat for the second wildcard spot for sure. And then you kind of got Utah, and then it kind of stops there. So Utah, Calgary, Vancouver, St. Louis. So four teams competing there. And in the East, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe five teams competing for the second playoff spot. Looking like we're going to get some pretty exciting hockey here. And that's important because the teams we're playing are trying to solidify or move into a playoff spot. The next, we play Carolina tonight. Thursday, we've got St. Louis coming into town, and then Saturday, Vegas comes to town. We get a little bit of a break by going on the road, playing Philadelphia and Columbus, who aren't in the. Columbus could be. By the time we get to playing Columbus, they probably will not be in the playoff hunt. And then we'll be at Dallas, then Montreal, and the Islanders come to town. So we've got a lot of teams that are going to be. We play Utah twice at the end of the season. That's a schedule. It's a schedule. But yeah, so the Preds are going to be in the mix, not competing themselves for a playoff spot, but could have an impact on another team that is trying to make the playoffs. And speaking of one of the teams and the playoffs, tonight is the game against Carolina Hurricanes. It is the second and last game against Carolina, the only one in Raleigh. Nashville beat Carolina here in Nashville 5-2. Last year, the visiting team held serve with the Preds winning in overtime 6-5 in Raleigh, and then Carolina winning here in Nashville 2-5. And so this year, a little different. Boy, it'd be nice to pick up a win in Carolina. But yeah, nice stadium. I've been to one game. Took my dad to a game. Have I been there? I think that's the only time I've been. Yeah. I think Carolina won. Don't remember. Anyway, my dad had a good time. All right. Well, anyway, so Carolina 43-23-4. They are 27-7-1 at home. 27-7-1 in Raleigh. As I said, they're second in the Metropolitan with 90 points, 12 points behind Washington, even on games played. 9 more points than the Devils, who have played 2 more. The Devils are 7 ahead of the Islanders, that's played 2 less, and the Rangers, and 7 ahead of the Rangers, 1 less. Islanders have 12 games left. Rangers have 11. So I think Carolina is pretty much going to be in a divisional spot. Not much doubt on that one. And the 27-7-1 home record for Carolina is the best home record in the NHL. Dallas and Vegas both also have 27 wins and 7 losses. Dallas has 2 overtime losses and Vegas 3. So, I guess Carolina's played 1 less at home than Dallas and 2 than Vegas, but so percentages still average out. But one of the best home records, currently the best home record in the NHL. After tonight, it will not be, right? Preds are going to show up again. Let's show up. Gosh, they played so good against Toronto. Anyway, for Carolina, this is the start of a 4-game homestand, playing against teams that are all fighting for a playoff position, except for Nashville. Friday, Montreal. Sunday, the Islanders. And then Wednesday, Washington. They don't have to deal with these back-to-backs like Nashville has had to do, which is kind of annoying. And so, I'll get to this in a minute. I know they are not, they're not the team with the most back-to-backs, but, it seems like, it just seems like some teams play a lot more than others in back-to-back situations, and it just gets kind of annoying, especially when the Preds aren't playing very well in that scenario. And I guess that's the main thing, But just taking a quick look here, the Ducks have not had any. Oh no! Wait a minute, that's not right. Days between games, equal to 0. Yeah, let's do that one. Not greater than, because that's all the same. Days between games, 11. Yeah, Anaheim's had 11. Pittsburgh's had 13. Toronto, who's in a playoff position, has had 13. The Predators have had 13. I guess I'm doing it now. The Rangers have 12. And then you come down here to Winnipeg's had 7. So, anyway, but Carolina is not in a back-to-back. I just get a little annoyed. They've had 12. They've had 12 back-to-back games. The Predators have had 13. Doesn't seem to bother them. Okay, moving on. So, personnel changes. The Hurricanes were a little busy at the trade deadline. One of the last trades reported, if I assume reporting it when it comes in, but anyway, one of the last ones was a trade with Nashville. Carolina got center Mark Jankowski for a fifth-round 2026 draft pick. And in those 7 games, he's got 6 goals. He had 4 goals in 41 games with the Preds, and in 7 games, he's already outdone that. I think he had 2 goals in 2 games. 6 goals on 8 shots, by the way, which I'll be mentioning later. Carolina's 6-1 in that stretch. But yeah, 4 goals and 45 shots with the Predators in 45 games, and he's scoring for Carolina. And just, I don't think he's probably doing anything different. Who knows? But being put in the better situations, I guess. So that was one trade, and then another trade was with Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen, they had gotten from Colorado at the end of January, and the word was that Dallas couldn't afford to sign him, but Carolina could, and it seems that Carolina wasn't able to really come to terms with Rantanen either, but they found a team that can, and so Dallas, they traded Rantanen to Dallas, and Rantanen signed an 8-year, $96 million contract with Dallas. So Rantanen has found a team, started in Colorado, went to Carolina, now with Dallas, whom we get to play. Yay. For Rantanen, they got a bucket load of draft picks and forward Logan Stankoven. Say that twice in a row and say it right. They got a conditional first round 2026, a conditional first round 2028, a third round 2026, a third round 2027. Yeah. So they got 2 2026 draft picks, a 2027, and a 2028. Conditional two conditional first rounds and 2 third round picks. So pretty good. And to get Rantanen, they had given up Jack Drury and Martin Necas. Necas being one of their best players. I think still, yeah, that trade was back in January. I think when I was doing the analysis, Necas still, he's now tied for the assist lead, I think, for Carolina, and he hasn't played there in 2 months. But and they also gave up a second round 2025 and a fourth round 2026 to Colorado. They did, and they gave up a third round 2025 to Chicago and forward prospect Nils Juntorp. And they received forward prospect Nils Juntorp from Chicago. Chicago kind of brokered that trade, I guess. So they gave up 3 draft picks and got. They gave up a second round 2025. They didn't get they gave up second and third round 2025 in that trade. Didn't get a 2025 round trade. They only have 5 picks now in this year's draft, 1 each in round 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7. So I guess if they're happy with their team, they're happy with their team. I didn't look at their unrestricted free agent list to see if where they were at in the with that, but they did get a couple of 2026 picks, so they gave up a fourth round and they got conditional first and third. So their draft standing should be pretty good. I'm taking a quick look here at their cap. They got a couple of guys are going to be unrestricted free agents. Nobody that's Brent Burns, the defenseman, Brent Burns, unrestricted free agent. No, he's 40, so that probably doesn't matter. He's been around for a while. Played for San Jose for most of his career. Frederick Anderson, well, that might be a big deal for them. $3.4 million. He's been their backup. I think he was their starter for a while, but he's not now. But he's getting paid more than Kochetkov. So, yeah, they might, he's 35? Maybe not. They may. I think they're going to need to do something in the offseason, but it won't be in the draft. Well, to do it in the draft, they're going to have to give up something. They're going to have to do something. But anyway, injuries for Carolina. Number 37 right wing Andrei Svechnikov. Day to day, could be back for tonight. He's fourth in points with 43. He's got the worst plus minus at -8. He's first in penalty minutes with 53, and he's second in shots. So he's has a lot of facets for Carolina. So I'm sure they miss him in the lineup. Again, whether he's back for the Nashville game, it's hard to say. I think they'll probably want him back for Montreal in the other games they're playing in this homestand. And they did call up a guy from the Chicago Wolves. The Chicago Wolves. He was that order's wrong, but he was reassigned to the Chicago Wolves. They did call up Juha Jaska, left wing Juha Jaska. And he did play in the one loss that they've had in the last 7 games, but he did play. So they've sent him back down. And but otherwise, the Carolina team is looking pretty solid. For the Nashville Predators, the Predators are 26, 36, and 8 on the road. They are whopping 8, 22, and 5. That 8-22-5 is not the worst record in the NHL. Chicago has a worse record, but Chicago, San Jose, and Nashville are the only teams with single-digit wins on the road. So, their home record's actually not that bad. The Predators' home record's not that bad. I think they've got a better home record than some teams that are in the playoffs. They're currently in playoff positions. They're 18, 14, and 3, and what is it? Minnesota is 18, 15, and 2. The Devils 17, 13, and 5. So the Predators have a home record that if they played on the road. Let's see. Montreal is 18, 12, and 5, and they're 500 on the road. So, the Preds messed up this season on the road somehow. Anyway, I'm sure it was a second period. The Preds are in the seventh in the Central, where they've been for the last, 4 or 5 months. 60 points, 9 ahead of Chicago, who's played one more, and 15 behind Utah, who has also played one more. So what the Preds have played 70 games, 12 games left, 15 points behind Utah. They're going to finish 7th, unless somehow or another Chicago decides to win a game or two. Chicago is 4 points ahead of the Sharks in the bottom of the league race, and Chicago's played one more. So, if San Jose screws up and starts winning, they could overtake Chicago. Yeah, you really don't enjoy that part of this podcast. I would much prefer it if the Preds were in a little better position. But, it is what it is, and we've known what it is ever since, December. Yeah, they had that really after December 12th. They had a run that kind of made you think that possibly they could get into the playoffs, and then the end of the month came around, and it kind of, and then you realize that nope, not gonna happen. Not going to happen. Yeah, the 3-game losing streak there at the end of December. St. Louis, Winnipeg, Minnesota. That kind of did it in. They did win 5 in the middle of January, but then they went and lost a bunch. But by middle of January, kind of handwriting was on the wall. Let's see. So tonight's game is the second game of a 2-game road trip, which they are 0-1 on, having lost 1-4 to St. Louis again. Personnel changes. Yossi out for the season. Expected back 4/16, and the last game of the year is April 16th. So maybe he comes back for Dallas. Maybe he doesn't. It's the last game of the year. May as well play. I don't know. He could really be injured, or they could just be interviewing. Everybody is in the mode of where they're auditioning. That's it. That's the word. Auditioning for next year. So, with Yossi out of the lineup, you get to see what the other people really can do. And I don't know. I just feel like every time the other team scores, Skay is on the ice. I think he's wanted to like him, but he's not, in my opinion, he has not performed the way people expected him to. He's definitely not worth the $7 million that he's being paid. I think I'm right. He's the third highest paid player on the for the Preds. Let's see, with Forsberg 8.5, Stamkos 8, then yada yada yada. Yossi 9, and then Brady Skay 7. Okay, so he's fourth. Okay, and then Saros is 7. Okay, so 5th. All right, so I was wrong about that. So he's the 5th highest paid player for the Preds. Second highest paid player for in the defense. Yeah, so you get two forwards that are paid more, one defenseman, and one goaltender. Yeah. Okay, so 5th, but it's still not. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what why he was so attractive. I got to give the. You got to give the Preds leadership credit for trying to do something. And they got to maybe next year we'll see it all come together, but not this year. Okay, so let's take a look at some stats, road stats, which are fun since they're 8-22 and 5. The first goal. If the Preds get the first goal, they're 6-3 and 2. If they get it in the first period, they're 2-3 and 2. And if they get it in the second period, they're 4-0. So the best scenario is for the Preds to get the first goal in the second period. That looks good to me. But you get it 6-3 and 2, so the Preds do have a slight advantage when they get the first goal. When they don't, they're 2-19 and 3, so that's not good. If they don't get it and it's the first period, 2-12 and 2. Don't think they got the first goal against St. Louis the other night. They did not. Sorry. Okay, there we go. And if the first goal happens in the second period and the other team gets it, they're 0-6. 0-6-0. So yeah, that's those numbers. Winning by period. The Preds have a losing record in the first period. Not surprising. 6-12-17. 6-12-17 in the first period. In the second period, 9-16-10. And the third period, 7-16-12. 0-5-0 in overtime. 0-5 and was that at home? No. Oh yeah. No shootouts. No first goal in a shootout. Right. Gotcha. Okay. And so then how does that translate is what, okay. So, that's their record. So what, when the Preds win the first period, the 6 times, they're 2-4, and they lose the first period, they're 1-11, and when they tie the first period, they're 5-12. None of that looks very good. The second period, when they win the second period, they're 6-3, so I'll take that. When they lose the second period, 1-15, and tie the second period, 1-9. Third period, if they win it, they're 5-2. Lose it, 1-15, and tie it, 2-12, taking out empty net goals. They're 4-4 in the third period when they win it. When they lose it, 3-11, and tie at 1-12. So I think I covered this last time. The best scenario on the road actually is for the Preds to tie the first and then win the second. They're 5-0 when they do that. If they tie the first and lose the second, they're 0-7. And if they tie the first and tie the second, they're 0-3-2. So they have not won the first and won the second on the road this year. They have won the first and lost the second 4 times for 1-1-2. So that's not great. And then the 2 times that they won the first and tied the second, they're 1-1. Losing the first, winning the second 4 times, 1-2-1. Lose the first, lose the second, 0-5, and then lose the first, tie the second, 0-3-0. So again, it's odd to say it, but their best hope of winning is to tie the first and win the second. I'm a big fan of winning the second period. So, there you go. As far as when the winning goal is being scored, we know the Preds aren't doing it, but somebody is, and they're primarily doing it in the second period, 43% of the time. So 15 times the winning goal has been scored in the second period when the Preds are on the road, 10 times in the third, 5 in the first, so nice strata there, 5 in overtime. So evenly distributed between the first and overtime, and then a nice stair-stepping there. 5, 15, 10, and 5. Well, you got to like that. It's easy numbers to roll off. Preds win, evenly split between the second and third periods, with them scoring the winning goal. Last year on the road, the opponents were 0% scoring the winning goal in the first period. Really should check that. It might be once, but 0% this year. It's the Preds are 0% because on the road last year when the Preds won 17% of the time, they got the winning goal in the first period. 0 for the home team, but getting the winning goal in the first period. Kind of interesting how that turned out. But when the Preds lose on the road, the primarily winning goal scored second period, 41%. 11 times, 6 times in the third, 5 in the first, and 5 in overtime. So for the opponents, fairly even in first, third, and overtime, and then double that, whatever they're doing in that period for the second. So the home team winning this season for the Preds, 45 times, so 25 times the road team has won. 33% of the time, the home team is getting the winning goal in the second period. 27%, the home team gets the winning goal in the third period. So that's looking kind of even. When the road team wins, the winning goal is being scored in the second period 40% of the time, 32% in the third. So kind of similar numbers. Again, weighted towards the second and third period, which makes sense. Scoring in the NHL, it goes up through the periods. The first period being the less scored in period, and then more in the second, and then even more in the third. As far as goal scoring goes, the Preds are being outscored in every period, in just about every situation. When they win, they are outscoring the opponent in the first 6-5, in the second 16-7, and in the third 12-5. You guys know I like to take out the empty net goals, and doing that, which are 6, they still outscore 6-5. So when they win in the 8 games that they've won, they have outscored the opponents in all 3 periods overall. Of course, when they lose, they're being outscored massively. First period 14-29, so a little better than 2-1. The second period 13-36, almost 3-1, and the third period 14-34, just about 2.5-1. Taking out empty net goals, it becomes 14-23. There've been 11 empty net goals, so they've still being outscored, just not nearly as not quite double in the third period. Overall, when the team that wins when the Preds are on the road basically scores 4 goals, which is kind of the same scenario across the board. 4.3 for the Preds when they win, 3.9 for the opponents when they win. The opponents do better scoring when the Preds win, 2.1 goals. The Preds score 1.5 when they're going to lose. So that's kind of an interesting marker. They've been outscored 41-104 when they lose, 34-17 when they win. So when they win, they outscore the opponents 2-1 overall. And then taking out the empty nets, the winning goals comes down to 3.5 for both sides. So that's the goal scoring. Again, taking a look at what the Preds do when they enter the second period and enter the third period, winning, tied, and losing. In all of those scenarios, they are being outscored. In the third period, if they enter the third period winning, they do outscore the opponents 11-8, but 5 of those are empty net goals, so they're actually being outscored 6-8 in the third period when they came into the third period winning. The second period, they're being outscored 4-11 when they come into the second period winning. When they come into the second period tied, that's close at least, 14-16. Entering the third period tied, must not happen very much, 2-4. 1 empty net goal there, so it's 2-3, taking out the empty net goals. And then if they enter the second period losing, they're outscored 11-16 in the second. Entering the third period losing, they're being outscored 13-27, and you got to take out 9 of those because it's 9 empty net goals. So 13-18 is not bad, but there's definitely a problem scoring for the Preds. Not just at home, not just on the road, but at home too. They just we'll get to those numbers here shortly, but yeah, they're definitely having their problems scoring. Which scoring, if you in order to win the game, you've got to score. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. So special teams. The Preds are scoring 29% on the power play in the second period. They did against St. Louis the other night, so that ticked up a little bit. I think it was 28. Now it's 29%. So 29% of the power plays in the second period. 12 goals scored on 41 opportunities. The third period has almost the same number of opportunities, but a third of the goals, 4 goals, scored on 39. So that's pretty bad. And, given that they've got a poor road record, a few more power play goals in the third period would surely help. 2 goals on 19 opportunities in the first. So not getting that many power play opportunities in the first period on the road. The opponent's getting 42, so more than twice the number of opportunities. But, the Preds have been good on the penalty kill this year, and until I started tracking this, hadn't given up a goal on the power play or in penalty kill. In the first period, they have given up 5 now. The gate seemed to have opened once I noticed it was a 0. 2 on the road, so 2 goals and 42 opportunities. That's still pretty good overall. The opponents are scoring 27% on the power play in the second period. They're also 12 goals on 45 opportunities. The Preds had 12 on 41. So the second period definitely is more of the penalties being called, fairly even between the Nashville getting penalties and their opponents, and both teams scoring about the same. The opponents are scoring on the power play in the third period, 7 goals on 31 opportunities, so 23%. So that's pretty good for them. But yeah, kind of surprising. The Preds, the one thing I guess they do have a problem in the second period, both at home and on the road. But apparently on the road, they are pretty good when it comes to the power play. So yeah, that's great. All right, so let's go into the matchups. How do these two teams compare? Well, Carolina is in the scoring. They're 8th in the league, having scored 227 goals. The Preds have scored 178, which is last in the league. Neither one of these teams scores a lot in the first period. Carolina is 26th in the league. Preds 28th, 55 and 52. But Carolina makes up for it by scoring 81 and 86 goals in the second and third period, which is 5th in the league in both of those, which is how they wind up being 8th. So they score a lot in the second and third. The Preds, not so much. They like to keep it pretty even, 62 and 61 in the second and third. 52 in the first, so no real spike. Let's just chill. Every period chill, which is great. As far as goals against, we all know where that's going. The Carolina has given up 186 goals. The Preds have given up 228. Carolina's 28th in the league and Nashville 9th. So they kind of swap. Carolina, one of the biggest goal scorers and not submits goals against, and Nashville, a team that doesn't score very much but gives up a lot, especially in the second period. The Preds are 6th in the league in goals against in the second period, 16th and 12th in the first and third. So holding it, pretty steady, 61 goals in the first, Carolina 60 in the first. So both teams pretty even, 16th and 17th in the league and goals against in the first period. But after, holding the opponents down in the first period. They like to, give them a break in the second and third. The Nashville Predators do. Not Carolina. Carolina has only given up 56 goals in the second period, which is 30th in the league to Nashville's 81. So Nashville has given up as many goals in the second as Carolina has scored in the second. Nashville is sixth in the league in goals against in the second period, which is interesting. The same number. Carolina's fifth in the league in scoring at 81 in the second period. And then things kind of go up. Carolina gives up 68 goals in the third. Predators give up 78, which 12th in the league for the Predators, 22nd for Carolina. Penalty situations. Carolina has the second best penalty kill. When I looked at the numbers yesterday, they were first, but Dallas has jumped over them for the day. So Carolina is second on the penalty kill at 84.9%, 31 goals on 205 opportunities. Not surprising that 31 goals against is 31st in the league. And so they've still had the same, a lot of opportunities on the penalty, given up a lot of penalties. Nashville is 10th on the penalty kill, which is still pretty good. They've been up in the top 10 all season. 81.3%, 39 on 208. So Nashville and Carolina, fairly even a number of penalties given. The Preds have given up 3 more and 8 more goals. So 8 more goals on 3 more opportunities. And then the power play, neither of these teams are in the top half. Carolina, 27th in the league, 17.9%, 38 goals for on 212 opportunities. The 212 opportunities is second in the league, so they've the second most opportunities on the power play and 27th in the league. So it's not like they haven't been in the situation, and they just, for some reason, they have not been scoring this season overall. And the Preds are 20th on the power play, 41 goals on 197 opportunities. So they've got 3 more goals on 15 less opportunities than Carolina. For the goaltenders, Peter Kochetkov is 25, 12, and 3. Frederick Anderson, 11 and 5. He was injured. Anderson was injured for a good bit of the season. Recently, they've been alternating starts. Earlier this year, when Nashville and Carolina played, Dustin Tokarski was actually in goal because Anderson was injured at that time. Nashville won 5-2. Last year, Ranta was in goal in the first game, a loss for Carolina. They lost 6-5 in overtime in Raleigh. Kochetkov was in goal the second time for a 5-2 win in Nashville for Carolina. Anderson was in goal Sunday versus Anaheim, a 5-2 win. And so I think we should expect to see Kochetkov in goal tonight versus Nashville. For the Predators, UC Saros, 17, 27, and 6, was most of the season playing 2 or 3 for each one of Justin Ananen's games in goal. Annanen is 8, 7, and 1. Earlier this year, Saros was in goal for the win against Carolina, 5-2. Last year, Lankinen was in goal for the win, the 6-5 overtime win in Raleigh. Saros was in goal for the loss, 2-5 in Nashville. What do you know? 2-5 in Nashville. Just the other team, just the team switch. Same score last year, this year, Nashville, Carolina. But this year was a loss and last year was a win. Anunen, I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong sometimes. I'm not even thinking about it. Anunen did not play versus Carolina for Colorado last year. Noonan was in goal versus St. Louis, and so Saros will be in goal tonight. Momentum. Carolina, solid second place in the Metropolitan, lost Saturday versus the Kings, which was the front half of a back-to-back with Anaheim. They did beat Anaheim. But before losing to the Kings, they had won 8 in a row starting back on March 2nd. So that winning streak started before the trade deadline. And they did get the 2 players, Jankowski, on the 7th. They are 9-1 in their last 10, and they're playing at home. So the Carolina's got a lot of momentum. Could be looking past Nashville. Jankowski's not. So, yeah, if they were going to look past Nashville, I think the fact that Jankowski, they just got Jankowski from Nashville will make up for that fact, and they're not going to be looking past Nashville. For Nashville, the win against Toronto ended a 4-game losing streak, and then they lost to St. Louis for the second time in 4 games. And then St. Louis comes in town again. So they will have played St. Louis 3 times in the span of 6 games, which is a schedule. The Preds are 5-4-1 in the last 10, so it's not hopeless. Yeah, like I said, a team like Nashville's can be very dangerous against a team like Carolina because they nothing to lose. I think team can lay it all out there like they did against Toronto. Maybe they were just tired come St. Louis. Well, they did have a short turnaround, and they had to travel. But I don't know. Okay, so who to watch? Well, the main guy to watch, even though he's not right now he's not the goal leader, is number 20, Sebastian Aho, center Sebastian Aho. Surprised to see somebody else, but number 24, center Seth Jarvis, is the goal leader at 27. Aho does have 26. Aho is the assist leader at 39, and so he's first in points with 65, 12 points ahead of the second place person. Aho is third on time on ice, so he's the guy that's out there the most for the forwards, 20 minutes, 12 seconds, and he's first in shots. So yeah, number 20, Sebastian Aho. And then, one guy I did note, number 5 defenseman Jalen Chatfield. He's first in plus minus with 23, which is, wow, that's nice. But yeah, number 77, Mark Jankowski. He is with Carolina. He's the shooting percentage. He's the shooting percentage leader at 75%, 6 goals on 8 shots. And as I said, center Martin Necas, who was traded to Colorado back in January, is tied in first with assists with 39 for Carolina still. So 2 months later, he's still got the assist lead for Carolina. So 20, 24, and 77. Got to watch 77, Mr. Jankowski making a return back to Nashville after being traded. Hope things work out for him there. He wasn't 77 because Evangelista is 77. But anyway, he's 77 for Carolina. 20, 24, 77. Hut. Yes. And so for Nashville, anybody with a 9 in the number or divisible by 9, 81 being a number divisible by 9, Marcia Schalt, third in goals, second in assists, second in points, third worst plus minus at minus 23, second in shots with 195. And of course, number 9, left wing Philip Forsberg leading the team in goals, assists, points, and shots. Yossi is out, 59. Number 90, Ryan O'Reilly, fourth across the board, goals, assists, points, third worst plus minus at negative 22, fourth. Ryan O'Reilly, fourth in time on ice, so he's the forward out there the most, 18:59. So Aho is out on the ice about a minute 15, minute 13 more per game than O'Reilly. Yeah. Number 91, Steven Stamkos, still scoring, coming up to his second now in goals at 23. Marchessault's got a bit stuck for a while in 19. But Stamkos has still gotten a couple of goals, got a power play goal the other day. Blakenberg leads the team in plus minus at 9. And Brady Skay, 76, not divisible by 9, but he's the guy on the ice the most now with the OC out, 21-42. He's got a plus minus of minus 15. Yeah. So that's the players to watch out for, divisible by 9 or a 9 on their in their number. Okay. So that's the players to watch. Carolina Hurricanes coming to town for the last time this year. They're not coming to town. We're going to town. We're going to Carolina. We're in Raleigh. I'm not in Raleigh. Let's start over. The Nashville Predators go to Raleigh tonight to take on the Hurricanes. It's going to be a windy finish. Nah, that didn't work. Anyway, hey, should be a good game. Hopefully the Preds will show up like they did against Toronto and take the win. The Hurricanes aren't desperate for a win. They can beat Montreal next. They can still keep their place in the division. And the Preds, they don't need the win either. But hey, I'd rather see them win than lose. So anyhow, thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.